Hello, this is my final game program. So for the first part, let's play the game. Okay, so I have this little maze, and then with this green thing, that's the player, the score shows over here. And you're able to use the arrow keys to move around, and you collect diamonds to increase your score, and you're kind of just trying to get to the end. So you can keep going, keep going. It's kind of a long maze. And then if you escape or get to the treasure map, you win the game. Um, but you can also lose the game if you end up hitting one of the things. So if I press my right, so game over, you lost because you hit the thing, and then the little animation that also played because the player gets burned, unfortunately. But yeah, that's basically the game. Um, and then yeah, so just like the more crystals you get, the higher your score. And then you make it to the end, you win. And then, so the actual coding part of it, um, basically for the code, it's there, I feel like it's not really that interesting. But it's just here I have, excuse me, here I have my images being like loaded in, um, the animation stuff, and then scoring, game over, and then I also, oh, that's lower. Um, Getting the sounds loaded in, the tiles. Where the player spawns, I also have an is dying variable because I want the animation to only play when the player hits like the enemy tiles and then the frames for the animation. And so this is also just for the animation and then more animation stuff. And so like this is just for it to play the animation when um is dying is true. And then I also have a game over thing, which is I feel like I probably could have made it into one, but I had game over first and then I added in the is dying. So it's just it is what it is. I didn't want to go back and change everything and mess everything up. Here it's just the keys, like using them to move the player around, where the animation will happen, and then when it's happening. And yeah, and then like all the other tiles and stuff. This one's what happens for every tile. Like which drawing or not drawing, which image gets produced. And then here we're back with the animation stuff. If is dying is true, or sorry, if it's false, then you have the actual player. Because then when it's actually let's have a little thing there. Okay. Because when it's true, then the player goes away and then you have the animation play instead. Um, and yeah, so then here's what happens when it's true, and then the game over. Um, some cool things that I guess are as interesting as it can get. I really thought that it was quite interesting how the player wasn't actually a tile and it's a separate sprite. Because originally I did have it as just another tile and it was like starting here, but it just didn't work out. So I had to change it and have it be a separate stripe. Not stripe, oh my gosh, sprite. And then I I also think that it is kind of cool how I have both an is dying and a game over variable because they both kind of happen at the same time, for the most part, at least. Um, and yeah, but they have different purposes. That's the word. Because is dying is just for when I want the animation to happen and where, versus game over is what I want to happen when gameplay is over. And then for the third part, the grade, I if it'll okay. For the grade, it's I followed the the features and stuff for it to be for because I want to get an A. And so I think it has all the features needed to get an A. Because it starts nicely, kind of can just get right into it. Scoring, I said before, we have okay, did not mean to do that. Scoring, anytime you go and grab a diamond, it'll increase by 5. And then okay, I have three advanced features. The first ones are the tiles, which we can see over here. Because the diamonds and the enemies, along with the treasure chests, they're all in here as tiles. And then I use sound, so anytime so if you lose, there's a sound that plays along with animation, which is the third um advanced feature from the list. And yeah, so it'll play a sound with the diamonds, with the treasure chest, and if you end up hitting the enemy. And then an animation with whenever you do end up hitting the enemy, if you do, and then it ends nicely with the sound, and it'll tell you that game over, you lost, or whatever. And the same thing if we win the game. So let's go see if we can do that. Fun little sound, and then again, game over, you won, and what your score is. And yeah.